What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So, another damning result for Frank Lampard, in my opinion. It doesn't matter that it's a win. It doesn't. Some people will say, "Oh, well, it's a win. He got the win. That's what's important." No, 1-0 win against lowly Fulham when they're down a man for an entire half. That's not good enough. That's a sign that nothing's changed. We faced tougher opposition. Honestly, you look at the chances that Fulham created today and didn't finish. We're up against tougher opposition. They're finishing those chances. They're not going to flub a wide open shot at the top of the box. They're not going to flub that shot. Fulham will. Fulham will say, "Oh, dang, we missed. Oh, well, we'll try again, guys." They'll do that for you because they're just bad. It's unfortunate, but they're bad. So that can happen against Fulham. You go up against some of these better teams. You go up against any team that is above that relegation battle right now, which, are all the teams that have been beating or drawing against us recently. We're gonna get scored on, and that's what's been happening. So just because we won today doesn't change anything. The result against Morecambe, that's a given. I mean, you're gonna beat a lower team. Even if you're in a bad run of form, most of the time you beat lower teams. If you don't, then you're probably sacked the next day. This is another poor performance with a barely decent result. It's not good enough. So let's talk about Lampard, because aside from the performance, another thing that, in my opinion, should be a damning consideration for him is exactly what I said on Sunday. When I saw the Morecambe game, I saw the performance of Billy Gilmore, I said, if Frank Lampard does not play Gilmore over Jorginho because Conte's out suspended next game, that should be the sign that he's done. He has no clue what he's doing. He's lost as a manager. He's lost as a player manager. He doesn't know what he's doing. If you watch Gilmore's performance against Morecambe and you tell me that you did not see more in that kind of average performance by Gilmore standards, that average performance was not better than anything we've seen from Jorginho this season, then you don't understand football. You don't. And I realize there are going to be a lot of people, "Oh, you're American, so you don't understand it either." Fine. Live in your ignorance. I grew up playing the sport. I coached the sport. I've watched it since I was a kid. I know the sport. I know what good performances look like. I know what a good distributor looks like. Jorginho is not it. Just because he can do it in the Serie A, everybody can do it in Serie A. I could probably go over there and do it in Serie A, and I'm out of shape. It's easy to do it because in Serie A, there's not constant pressure. There's not all of these rough people that are going to get in and hit you. There's not a ton of speedy players that are going to put high pressure on you. That's not the style of play. In the Premier League, that's the style of play. And if you're going to sit there and take a touch and then wait a few seconds and then lay it back to another defender, you're not doing anything. You're just padding your pass stats at that point. Gilmore, when he receives it, it's a touch into space. It's a touch and turn. It's a pass. He's got something in mind. He's going to do something with it. Jorginho is not. If it's an infield ball coming from the wing and he sees there's a striker making that run, occasionally he'll hit that ball and it'll come off. He can do that. 1 in every 20-something games. But most of the time, the only reason he's in there is just to keep a little bit of possession in the backfield. When we're under high pressure, he's just an option that's there. He's not going to do anything special with it. He's just going to basically keep possession in our defense, which is exactly what we want to do, right? We brought in all of these attacking players, £220 million. We spent all of this money, and we want to keep possession in our defense, right? That's what we want to do, right? That's the smart thing to do. I don't get why Lampard's not doing anything different. It's boggling to me that everything is the same. The formation is the same. We're still just possession-based. And not possession trying to create something. Just keep possession, guys. Just keep possession. Look, I realize that there's only 4 defenders back right now, and we could have a 3-on-4 with very pacey, talented players. But I'd prefer just keep possession in the back. As long as we don't lose it, just keep possession in the back. When has that ever worked for us? Never. When has that ever worked in the Premier League? Even when Pep Guardiola came into Man City, a lot of people were saying, oh, he's going to bring that tiki-taka, football. Yeah, they keep a lot of possession, but they keep a lot of possession in the attacking third. They move the ball in the attacking third. If they have to drop back to their defense, it's a reset, and then they get it back up the field quickly. When we drop it back to our defense, it goes to the other defender, out to the fullback, back to the defender, to the other defender, and then there's pressure, and then drop it back to the keeper, and then we all have to drop off now. It happens so many times every game, and Jorginho is a large part of that. Gilmore, at least, would try to keep the play moving forward. Or if he is going to move it backwards, it's not just going to be... There was one in particular that I can think of. Mendy has the ball, plays it into Jorginho, takes a touch, and is standing. He's not moving. He's not ready to move. He takes a touch, and he's planted. And then two defenders are pretty much about to close him down, and his only option is, well, I got to go right back where it came from. And then it gets booted downfield, and I think we lost possession after that. If it's Gilmore, he sees the two players. He's either going to turn them and try to split them, or he's going to take a touch into a spot where he can find a better pass to get us out of that pressure and possibly start our attack downfield. So, in my opinion, that was Frank's first mistake, is putting Jorginho out there at all. I don't care if you want to put Gilmore out there. I personally think he's a better option than any other player we have right now with Conte out injured. But even if you wanted to go with Kovacic there, or if you want to go with Mount there, I don't know why you would, but I would understand that more than going with Jorginho. That just makes no sense to me. Jorginho should be done. He should be sold this January because he's completely ineffective. Now that I'm done with that little rant. The other thing that we got to talk about is why are we constantly not looking to take, whenever we win possession, we're not looking to take it down the field. Rarely do I see us win possession and then pick our heads up, oh, there's a good option, get it out wide, get it down the line, something like that. If Mount gets on it, he'll do that. He's that type of player. He wants to look and see what his options are. When almost any other player wins it back, whether it be our defenders or somebody else in the midfield aside from Mount, it's like the first idea is, okay, let me look back. Oh, look, defender wide open, I'll play it to him. Why? Most of the teams that we play against, aside from the top 4 or 5, well, typically top 4 or 5 this year, top 4 is a bit different. But most of the time, these teams do not press us high. If they do, it's 1 or 2 players. They immediately retreat and set themselves up in a defensive block that's very hard to play through. And we don't have Hazard anymore, so we're not going to be able to play through that anymore. We should be looking to counter quickly, but we don't. And Lampard's not changed that. He doesn't change it. He keeps doing the same thing every single game, just like Sarri, which is why Sarri didn't work. If not for the fact that he had Hazard to save him in several games, Sarri would have failed as a manager. His entire season would have been a wash. We wouldn't have made top 4. We wouldn't have won anything. It would have just been we would have ended up in 10th place, honestly, without Hazard. So we don't have Hazard anymore, and Lampard has not changed anything. Last season, it was a bunch of young, energetic players that just gave their all. And so a lot of the time, it wasn't about the clever play, the intricate, quick 1-2s. It was just about this desire to go win the ball, to work their butts off, and that's what won us a lot of games. It was just the energy and the desire to play. This season, that energy has dropped off. And so is our play. And so have our results. And now we're sitting way down the table. I think today's win brought us back up to maybe 8th. But we were 10th before our game. That's how far we've dropped. Because we went 6 games with only 1 win and 1 draw. And not against fantastic teams either. It's not like we played Man City. That was it. We didn't play Liverpool. We didn't play Man U. So clearly something had to change. Nothing has changed. And if nothing's changing, then why am I supposed to be like, oh no, Lampard, he's learning, he's figuring things out. If he's figuring things out, things would be changing. He would be trying to adjust. He would be trying to figure out, all right, let's try to do this game. Let's try to adjust this formation a little bit. Let's try to make it where we're playing down this side a little bit more. Or maybe we're trying to look for more crosses, or maybe we're not looking to cross, we're looking to take it down the line and then cut it back. Something different, but instead it's just possession. Just keep possession. Doesn't matter if it's in our defense all the time. Just keep possession. That's what we need. We need a lot of possession. More possession. Possession. Possession doesn't win you games. It doesn't. Hate to tell you. No, I don't hate to tell you. People have been saying it for years. Possession does not win you games. It lets you look like you're controlling the game, and then as soon as the other team wins it back, boom, they're on you, and our defense has been very unorganized in the past several games, which is why we've been giving up goals. We almost gave up a couple here. And I don't know how that's possible, considering we spent all of our money in the attack and then brought in, a couple defenders and a slightly better keeper, but even he's showing his problems now. So, yeah. the problems are obvious. Lampard's not doing enough. Hashtag Lampard out. That's where I feel. So, anyways, after that long ramble rant about Lampard, let's talk about the individuals. Mendy and the defense, honestly, there's not a whole lot to say. They weren't tested a whole lot, but when they were, it looked shaky. So they did okay. Obviously we didn't give up any goals. There was the one that, honestly, again, it should have been a goal. It was a little flick down the line, and then he cuts it across. Kovacic is coming to behind to pressure because he didn't track him, and then Chilwell steps across, which leaves his man wide open. And so the ball gets played to that guy, and he just completely flubs his shot, and it goes wide. Any other team, that's a goal. And it just comes down to, where's the organization? Where is the organization? Who's it coming from? Because at first I thought Silva was going to come in and it was going to be more organized. And it was for a bit. And now it's not. Now, for the past several games, it's basically the same as last season. It's back to the same. We don't know who we're picking up. I'm going to step out to pressure the ball, which leaves this guy right behind me wide open, and the guy behind me, my defender, is not stepping to help cover that, so the ball gets just played past me, and suddenly they're in behind. And it's just so easy. I've never seen, my team be so defensively unorganized. In all of the years I've watched Chelsea, I've not seen us this defensively unorganized, unsure of what to do, unable to pick up runners. I haven't. That's one thing I've always been able to say. And I think it changed once we hit about Sarri. I think there were a couple games where we gave up 5 or 6 goals. That started to be the season that all of a sudden it became kind of commonplace to start giving up goals. Every single game I was expecting to give up goals. I think Kepa is kind of where the balance shifted a little bit. But yeah, I don't like this feeling. As somebody who is more defensive minded, as somebody who played as a defender most of my high school / amateur career, I hate giving up goals. I hate whenever my team looks defensively unorganized. And that's what I've had to deal with for the past 3 years now. So I don't know what's got to change. I don't know what defenders we need to go get. I don't know what defensive coach we need to fire. But something's got to change. Because all of those clean sheets don't matter because, long run of, oh yeah, we're doing good, and now we're back to where we were, which means nothing really changed. It was just that fresh injection of new players means more energy, means more difference in the back. But in the end, nothing really changed about our play overall. It was just the personnel change that helped bump us up for a bit. And now we're back to making the same mistakes. So I don't know where it's got to be. I'm not in, training and all that, so I don't know what's going on there, but I feel like that's got to be the problem. Because if changing the players didn't fix it permanently, it's got to be more than that. Into the midfield, I've already ranted about Jorginho, and yeah, don't know why he played. He shouldn't have started. Gilmore should have started, in my opinion. He was the first one to get pulled off, rightfully so, but should have been at halftime, honestly, after the red card. But I think Lampard probably just trying to be a fair coach, wants to give him a chance to prove himself, which then led to the first 15 minutes being super boring to watch. Mount, easily man of the match for me, not even just for the goal. He was the only player that, in my opinion, had a flawless game. He worked hard. He was creative on the ball. He was making things happen. He was energetic. You can't look at this and tell me that Mount doesn't deserve to play every game. I never understand the people that just love to hate on him. Why? He's so good at doing a little bit of everything. Like, he is not the best player in any one position. He's not the player. He's no, Conte, best defensive mid in the world, easily. Messi, best winger in the world, easily. Ronaldo, best finisher in the world, easily. He's not any of those. He's not the best of the best in any position. But as far as all-around capabilities, he can do a little bit of everything. He defends well. He works hard to track back. Creative on the ball. Very quick to play the 1-2. Finishing, he can strike a ball well outside the box. He's got everything. Why would you not want an all-around player in your midfield? So I will never understand the people that love to hate on Mount. Doesn't make any sense to me. It's like people just want to look at his stats and go, "Oh yeah, but he's not scoring like every 5 games, and he's not assisting like 20 times in 5 games. So why even have him on the field?" Those people don't watch the games. They just look at the stat sheet at the end of the game and go, "See, Mount didn't even score in the past 3 games. He's ineffective. He's useless." Meanwhile, he's got probably the highest tackle rate. Probably not. Conte's got him beat. But anyways, Kovacic, just kind of a quiet game from him. He's always a player that I feel like he's doing his job kind of quietly, but I still expect a bit more out of him. And a lot of people have called him out for that. As creative as he is on the ball, he should be assisting more. He should be scoring more. He should be doing more in the final third. But instead, he seems to be more of a get you out of a danger situation in the back. Like, he's very quick on the turn. He's very good at getting out of a tight spot. So he's just more about keeping that possession in your defensive third, which, again, like I've said, who cares? Like, I'm tired of that. I'm sick of keeping possession in the defensive third. I would rather have possession in the attacking third so we're looking dangerous and we're making them defend instead of just, "Oh, we've still got possession, guys. Come and get it." Why would they do that? We're the better team. We should be making them chase us. But yeah, I don't know. It feels like there are too many times whenever he does get in that burst of speed that it doesn't really come to anything. He either just lays it out wide, which then could lead to a cross possibly, or it gets picked off of him because he's got nowhere to go because he ran himself into a hole. Sometimes I do think he's not really helped by the runs up top, but I feel like for the most part it's more of his doing, that he just doesn't really have an idea in the final third. Front three, first of all, I'll talk about Ziyech. Still returning from injury, and there were a couple better crosses today, but he's still not looking the same as he was before the injury. So I don't know how much that's still hindering him, but watching him today, I just thought, he's okay. He's a good player, but he's not anything special like we were expecting him to be. He's not doing anything that's making me go, "Yes, see, this is why we have him out there." He's there, and that's about it. And unfortunately for Ziyech, that's not what we need from him. We need more. We need more clinical attacking crosses. We need more finishing from him. And it's just too many times I'm seeing his shots are going over the bar. They're not even close to being on target, or the crosses are just to nobody. They're just kind of dangerous looking. So, yeah, disappointing. And I hope he can get back to what we saw, because before the injury, again, he looked really good, and he looked like he was going to be a fantastic player. So we'll see what happens. Pulisic, funny story. This past week, I do remember seeing an article headline from Alexi Lawless saying that Pulisic is bigger than Chelsea. And it just made me realize, like, how envious I am of Lawless, Like, I've always just thought that I just hated the guy. But in truth, it's because I'm jealous. I really am. If I were able to make hundreds of thousands, possibly millions, I don't know his paycheck. If I were able to make that much money to just sit on TV or do podcasts and say the stupidest shit, I mean, that's the dream life right there. I could get on there and I could just say, "Look, Man U's the best team in the league. Like, they don't need help from VAR. They don't need help from the referees. They are just that good." If I could do that and make hundreds of thousands of dollars, that would be the dream life. Just say stupid stuff and money comes rolling in. But yeah, no, Pulisic is not bigger than Chelsea. If anything, he's not a good fit. for Chelsea. At least the way we're playing right now. And I could say even the same thing about Werner. You could say the same thing about Morata when he was here. You could say the same thing about Torres when he was here. Problem is, we bring in these strikers that are very clinical at other clubs, where those clubs play more counter-attacking football. And then they come here, and for some reason, the past several years that we've had these managers come in, they've said, let's look to build out of the back. That's not the type of players that Pulisic or Werner or Morata or Torres are. They're not. They're not really that good when it comes to tight space play. They're too easily knocked off the ball. Now, Pulisic, there are times whenever he can be very creative. He can get into the box, beat a defender, get tripped up, something like that. But he's not Hazard. He's not going to do it every single time. He'll do it every now and then. But his best play comes from whenever there's a ton of space to run into. He's just got to beat that one defender, just flick it past him and go. That's his best play. But we're not playing for that. We're playing to keep possession in the defense, slowly build up the field, get it out wide, maybe cross it in, or maybe try to play, quick little 1-2. It's not how he plays. So either he needs to improve that, or we need to change how we play. And we're not doing either. He's not improving that side of his game. It's still the same. He's still easily getting picked off. He's still easily getting bodied off the ball. He's still not beating players on the dribble. And we're also not changing our play to account for the fact that he can be very good if he's one-on-one, past the defender into space. We're not doing either thing. And the same thing can be said about Werner. He's a striker that if you send it over the top, he can run onto it. We saw it at the end of the game. Problem is he's in such a slump now that even when he does finally get that ball, it's going to take him some time to get that confidence back up so that he can start slotting those in. But right now, he's essentially Torres. He's essentially Morata. He's a very good counterattacking striker that is at a team that does not like to counterattack for some reason. We like to build up that play really slowly. And unfortunately, he's human. So he goes on a long stretch without scoring in the Premier League. Yeah, his confidence is going to dwindle. And when your confidence isn't there, you're not hitting the ball right. You're not putting that nice little curl on it that snuggles it in at the back post. Strikers can do that when they're in form, when they're feeling good. When you're not, Giroud's feeling it too. I'll get to him in a second. But I don't get it. I know this is kind of a Pulisic and Werner thing. But why? Why are we not trying to change up to account for these players better? I realize you don't want to change your team to fit one player, but when you've got a few players that play like that, I would even say Hudson-Odoi is at his best when we're counterattacking. So why are we not changing up our system, the way we play, to better suit the players we have? Because Lampard doesn't get that. He's still too young, he's still too new, and he's not learning that either. He's still trying to force these players into a system that doesn't work. And the confidence is gone, and they're playing like shit now. And here we are, down in, I think, 8th place maybe. So anyways, so a little frustrating from Pulisic again today, but again, I don't know how much of that is his fault. I still think he could be much better if we would just change up the way we play a bit, but he's also not in a good run of form, and today didn't help. Giroud, normally a player that even when we're in a bad run of form, he's still working his butt off. Just nothing came off for him today. The shots, the layoffs, he looked like a shadow of what I normally expect from Giroud. Like normally I just expect these, when he lays it off to somebody, it's right on their foot and they're in. Or whenever he shoots, I expect the keeper's having to make a save. It's on target, but the keeper made a good save. None of that today. Most of his shots were off target, even kind of the easier ones. Some of them were off target. And his layoffs, just too much heavy touches. Too much behind the player. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just the general spirit of the team right now because we are in such a bad run of form that he's affected too. And he's just not feeling it either. But yeah, not a good game from him. It's especially, by my high standards of him, it really was not good from him today. Anyways, into the second half, and we bring in the substitutes. Abraham came on for Jorginho, and he worked hard. I expect him to finish. I expect him to score a goal when he comes on when the other team's a man down and we've got two strikers now. I expect him to finish, coming on as a striker, but he didn't. So that's a problem. Even though he did work very hard and I think he was trying as much as he could, I mean, effort only gets you so far, especially as a striker and especially at a club where you're one of three and none of you are scoring right now. One of you needs to start scoring. And Abraham did not. Came on, didn't really do much. Hudson-Odoi and Werner then came on later, and I've already talked about Werner. He's just in a bad run of form. You know, that last play where he's in behind the defense, one-on-one with the keeper, that's what he does best. That is his game incarnate. But he's in such a bad run of form and so low on confidence that even in this play, he misses. Which then, of course, drops his confidence even further, and I don't know why Lampard is still like constantly putting him under all this pressure. Like, yeah, get out there, score us a goal, and then all the fans are just gonna rip him apart. I ripped him apart. I called him Timo Torres on Twitter. I can't help it. I'm frustrated. It's not. I'm not making excuses. Like, I know that was wrong of me, and I know that I'm part of the problem. But yeah, it's not gonna change as long as he continues to be in this just lack of confidence state. It's going to be the same stuff. Doesn't matter how many through balls you put him on, he's just not going to find it because he's going to be in that moment and he's going to be thinking so hard about it and then just wide of the goal again. Hudson-Odoi I thought was probably our second best player, honestly. I mean, he came on full of fire and did a lot of good stuff, honestly. I really felt like if our goal was going to come from anywhere, it was going to come from Mount or Hudson-Odoi, and of course Mount is the one that scored it. But yeah, I just don't get it. I don't understand why all of these issues are so obvious, at least to me, and nobody's doing anything about it. It's just, I don't know. I truly don't get it. Again, I know Lampard is a young manager. I know he's still learning. But are you learning? That's what I want to know. Because I remember him as a player. I remember watching him growing up and thinking he's such an intelligent player. He reads the game so well. He can see what's going on around him. So you would think somebody with that high of an intelligence for the game would do well in the manager position. And at first it seemed like he was. At first it seemed like he was going to be able to figure things out. Last season, he did make adjustments. He did try to do different things. He did try to help the team play at its best based on what we had. But then this season, we went out and got these fantastic players, supposedly. We went and got all these great players, spent all this money, and it feels like now he's just stuck in this system, and he doesn't want to change anything, and he wants to, come on, guys, fit these pieces. Come on, circle, go in that square. I mean, it blows my mind that he went from, I'm willing to make all these adjustments. I'm willing to try, let's go with the back three this time. This time, let's try to go with a 4-4-2. This time, 4-2-3-1. Making adjustments based on what the game called for. Making adjustments based on, all right, what's working, what's not. Is it getting a bit stale? Let's change it up a little bit. And obviously, too much change can be an issue. You don't want to get, into a rhythm in this one formation and then suddenly you change it and now that rhythm is gone. But you should be working on a couple different formations. So if you do need to change something, you can. Because honestly, in the Premier League, most of the time you have to. Very rarely have teams been able to just consistently play the same system, the same formation. Liverpool is one of the few teams that got away with it. And the only reason is because they had so many good athletic players that were able to somehow play several games in a row without ever wearing out or tiring. And they just, that's how they managed to do it. They've had the best athletic players. We don't have that. We don't. We have a lot of good, talented players that I think work together well as a team if you can get the right formation, if you can figure out where to play them, what style to play them in, and Lampard's not doing any of that. So unless he can change that or unless the board decides to splash some more money, which I don't see why they would, considering how much they spent in the summer, yeah, I don't think anything's going to change. I feel like it's just all going to be the same. So anyways, it felt good to get all that out. That's why I do these reviews in the first place most of the time, is just to vent. So those are all my thoughts and opinions. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.